Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I'm Bo Oliver, joined today by Aaron, Teddy, and Marissa, and we are talking Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4, The Last of the Starks. Before we get into the episode, I want to let you guys know that you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, and SoundCloud, and Spotify. We usually wait till the end of the podcast when nobody is listening to plug our links, but today we're going to do it up front so that you can not listen and just keep listening on YouTube. Actually, you can check the analytics now on iTunes. I finally figured out how to do that.
Really?
Did you really?
Yeah. You know, not bad. I should have just left them up to the imagination. They're much higher that way. But yeah, we're getting into episode 4, and me and Aaron already did our review, so we always like to start with Marissa and Teddy. So, Marissa, we'll start with you. What did you think of the episode?
I would say I was pretty ambivalent about the episode. It's kind of like last week. There are things I liked and things I didn't like.
Okay. Yeah, last week cathartic, this weekend.
I was going to say, always coming with the fire vocab. We'll put it out.
What was that?
I like hearing big words, so I add it to my vernacular so I sound smarter.
Vernacular, wow.
That's a good one.
Teddy just had two words.
But yeah, while I was watching the episode, I would say I enjoyed it. But then I thought about the episode, and my enjoyment level went down. So, there's that.
Right. I love that review, actually. My enjoyment level went down as soon as I thought about it.
That happens a lot. I think for both of us too. With last week's episode, we kind of had the same thing. We still liked the episode after, but we kind of heard a little bit of the other perspectives and watched it again. Like, okay, I could see that, and kind of lowered the score a little. Yeah,
because we always get right into it right after the episode. And somebody tweeted us. They were like, I wish you guys would do a live stream so we could hear your raw thoughts.
Oh, no. Every episode's a 10 if it's live.
It is, yeah. Well, the thing is, too, our thoughts are kind of raw because we get into it like 30 minutes after. I mean, we'll discuss it briefly, but it's a matter of trying to get the review out as soon as possible. And that's unfortunately how you have to do it these days. Well, not this day because, HBO just, even though they're paying us off, they keep blocking our videos. So I don't know how that works. But yeah, I mean, Teddy, what did you think about the episode? You weren't too thrilled about it when you texted me last night.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't happy with this episode. I mean, I knew there was going to be filler, but I felt like this entire episode was filler.
Yes. Until the end, almost.
Yeah. Like the last 30 minutes of that episode, or I wouldn't say 30, like 25 minutes, 20 minutes of that episode was maybe like 40 minutes of the episode. 50 minutes. That would have been great. But the opening 25 minutes was a frat party. It was fun. Like what you said just now. Yeah, it was funny watching it. It was nice to see. But now it's like, it's all right. We can't do this anymore. It's got to be more serious now.
No, rewatching it too during those scenes, I was kind of like, all right, I get what's going on here, and they kind of wrap it all up. But I think that's excusable within an hour and 20-minute episode.
Yeah.
If that was, if it was a normally length episode and you had that, and then the rest of it was just condensed into 10, 15 minutes, then I don't mind that being the case for a longer episode.
But why are the episodes an hour and 20 minutes if you're going to even have that? That's the question. When they announce the runtime, you're thinking, oh, there's a lot that they need to tie up here. Right. That's why the runtimes are so long. But instead, and like you said, watching it, the scenes were very funny. Tormund had so many great scenes in that opening.
Him crying because Brienne.
Yes. Him talking about Jon. Usually when you get murdered, you stay murdered. Not him.
Low-key, the funniest part was when it's when Jaime follows Brienne, and Tyrion fills up his wine, and it's just him and Pod.
It.
And
yes.
He just looks at Pod and walks away.
Yeah. Pod just smiles at him and gives him the classic Pod smile.
But I feel like they're getting lazy, though, because the best scene that could have been on this episode was when Jon tells his sisters about who he really is, and as soon as he says something, they cut to the next scene. Like, you really don't give us our reaction to that? Like, really?
Well, I think the reaction comes from the scene with Tyrion in terms of Sansa's reaction. You don't want to explain that again to the audience, so I can understand the cut there, because we've heard it twice now. We've heard it explained to Jon, and then Jon explains it to Daenerys. Arya's reaction is a bit more ambiguous because she says that she's going to King's Landing she has unfinished business, and we all think that could be Cersei, but now people are saying it might be Daenerys, and obviously they don't trust her. That's what they said to Jon, which doesn't make sense to me still.
No, we talked about that, and
what has she done that makes them not trust her? Like, she fought for us, she lost half of her army, her dragon died. I don't know, I just don't see it.
I'm not buying it.
She's barely asked us for anything.
She's being too nice.
Right, yeah.
She tried to extend an olive branch to me 3 times now.
Too many olive branches,
Yeah.
and then I'm getting tied up here. I can't breathe.
Too many branches becomes a tree.
Exactly, and then we got Weirdo over here talking to the
Write
trees.
that down.
Too many. No, I think that's Sun Tzu.
Really?
No.
Okay.
But it could be like the scene when she wants to send the troops back, and Sansa tries to give her input in, and Daenerys presses back on Sansa. It's like maybe she's trying to do too much too.
Well, she seems in a hurry
advice.
to get to the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
We just won the Great War. Let's get to my war now. And Sansa makes a valid point that the troops are tired. And maybe if they listened to Sansa, they wouldn't have lost Missandei at the very end, and they wouldn't have lost a dragon, because they do rush into it, and they weren't even expecting an ambush. I mean, that seems almost obvious. Dragonstone is her home base.
Well, I think that's been some of the criticisms, is it does feel a little rushed this season.
Which is so weird. It has
It
filler.
kind of doesn't, though.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
It
no,
has
weird.
filler, but it's also rushed.
No, I didn't mind the filler. I think you kind of need that to establish where the characters are after that event and push them forward. And I think it's nice to have a little lighthearted events, but I think you can make the point like they just wanted to get to King's Landing and get to these final 2 episodes, and this was the fastest way too. I mean, we've seen, like people call it Littlefinger's helicopter in effect plenty of times throughout the series. This isn't new. And if there isn't story within the travels, then just get me there.
Right. No, I'm not mad about them getting to King's Landing as fast as possible. I do get frustrated when Tyrion and Varys have that conversation at the very end of the trip, because it's like, what were they doing for that entire time?
Well, that's what everything.
I know, but have that in the
It's like,
beginning, and then they go to sleep or something.
Well, no, it's like Beyond the Wall. They're having all these like you
The
guys
Jorah
were with-
moment
you
is
guys
the
are with
worst.
each other for
Yeah.
a pretty long time, but that happens in film and TV.
He's like,
Well,
now that we're in imminent danger, I'm going to offer you the greatest weapon
Yeah.
against the White Walkers.
But
I mean, I liked the episode, and I think some of the criticisms, obviously well thought out and discussion worthy criticisms, are valid, and I tend to like to get other perspectives, but I feel like people just don't want to like these seasons and episodes. And you look at IMDb, there's people are kind of review bombing it. There's so many 1 out of 10s that's just saying like people didn't want to like this episode and they gave it the lowest possible score, which that's not the case. You can not like certain things. You can think that is a little, Euron shouldn't have been able to kill Rhaegal. I tend to look at it a bit more of the point was just he's dead. Not the how may be a little ruffled, but I kind of taken the bigger picture. But I could see why people might be upset with that. And there are plenty. The Starbucks cup, the joke.
that's lazy.
That was fun.
Yeah.
No,
but I know.
that was getting
Well,
annoying
that's
today.
happened before, too. I think that was in season 4, where Jaime Lannister was holding a cup of coffee.
I think that was behind the scenes. But season
that
1,
was behind the
a
scenes.
Northman had jeans.
Yes. No, last season, too, when Jaime is walking through Highgarden.
Yeah.
One of the dead bodies has a white sweater and jeans.
Looking fresh.
Yeah, I mean, he went to H&M before the battle, so
But I think
I'm dying in style.
I don't know, like just bloviating and focusing on nitpicking and kind
That's
of
just become the fan base, and it is frustrating.
It's
yeah.
not fun anymore. Like I like to have
It's
fun.
just
like,
the internet being
you
the
don't
internet.
like. Honestly, I'm telling you, like if you don't like this episode, I understand your complaints, and we can have disagreements on the aspects of the episodes. But to outright just say this season is terrible and it's the worst thing ever on TV, the worst finale, even though when the finale didn't even happen yet, I just feel like that's premature. And some people, not everybody, just want to hate it before this episode was even out, because 1 out of 10, this is the worst episode ever rated in Game of Thrones.
Well, it
Worse
comes
than
with the
Unbound,
territory.
Unbent, Unbroken. Worse than last week, which apparently people hated. Worse than any other episode you can imagine. And I don't see that at all. It wasn't perfect, but you can not like certain things in an episode, like some things, and just view it as a whole and not try to compare it to seasons 1 through 4. Seasons 1 through 4, perfect. Some of the best television to
That's the
ever
problem.
be on TV.
People keep comparing it to seasons 1 through 4.
Exactly.
It went from near flawless to good.
Yeah.
And people are losing their minds over that. And that just comes with the territory.
But I said this about season 5 and season 7, and I think this can apply once we get the whole grasp of season 8 when it finishes. I said about 5 and 7 weren't the best, 2 worst seasons of Game of Thrones, but you'll be pressing to find something better on TV.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
it's still great
it's
television.
it's something I love. I read all the books. It's such a big part of my life. So it does. I don't like to see people hate it, but I just think make it like well thought out, make good criticisms, and I'm fine. But just this, I don't know, it's like nitpicking and just blind hating is kind of driving me nuts.
That's
I know it
become
shouldn't,
fandoms
but
everywhere, though.
yeah.
It's binary. It is. It's 1 through 10, and that's what you're seeing on IMDb. But you made the point that when you rate it a 10, the numbers are more 7, 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Well,
when
like,
you're voting it a 1, you're just trying to lower the score deliberately.
Yeah, the majority of the votes are between 7, 8, and 9.
Dicks.
So 10 doesn't skew it higher, but 1 skews it much lower. And I think a lot of people, like, I'm not saying it is a 10, but I can see where people would view it a 10 just for being a fan and not liking where it's going. 1 is the absolute bottom of TV and film. The gutter, the garbage, the fucking worst thing that couldn't even make it to screen. That you just like, how did this get fucking greenlit? That's not that. That's not last night's episode.
Fantasy Fun Factory. Is that show?
Ridiculousness.
Marissa, what did you think about Jaime and Brienne banging?
What a transition.
I didn't actually expect that to happen in the show at all. Like,
good points, though, Aaron, but yeah.
They had moments.
So I can't put that in a tweet. I kind of just wanted to get it out there.
What was that, like 1,200 characters?
Yeah, and I figured, the last week's videos got downvoted enough, so it's not going to hurt.
No, it's only up from here. Although, it's Friday.
We'll push the envelope.
Friday. Yeah. Let's get Friday numbers going here.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting hot in here.
Like, I genuinely didn't think we were actually going to see them get together in the show whatsoever.
It always felt like a what-if romance.
Yeah. Always thought Brienne liked Jaime way more than Jaime ever liked her. I thought they had, like, a respect and, like, a camaraderie for... I can't even say that word. Whatever.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, that. And I felt that they had that.
I got words, too.
But it felt like a fandom thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Brienne and Jaime, and I was genuinely surprised to actually see something come out of it in the show.
Well, George R. R. Martin always says that he deliberately teases romance in the books that are never going to happen, but he likes to have fun with the fans, and he hates fan fiction. I'm not going to say Jaime and Brienne is fan fiction. It was always what if.
Fan service.
Right, fan servicey, that if the show ended differently, if it had a more happy ending, if it wasn't bittersweet, that these characters maybe could have ended up together. I think I would have preferred Tormund and Brienne at this point. I don't hate it. I don't necessarily love it. It is what it is. Maybe it adds more to the character.
I'd like that more.
With Tormund and Brienne?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Tormund being heartbroken is hilarious, but Jaime leaving Brienne at the end.
Yeah, heartbreak's funny to you. Okay.
It was hilarious the way that he tried to
he got
take comfort in it.
He got over it quick.
Yeah, right. But he the first person he goes to is the Hound.
You see, yeah, it was like scenes like that. Like watching it it's hilarious.
Yes.
Going back on it, it's like, all right, do we need that scene?
Third to last episode, and
still cracking jokes.
Yeah, that dinner should have been, and it goes back to the long night. If more significant people would have died, that should have been a somber dinner. We should have been just depressed with them. And obviously, the way that you deal with grief is you do move on and you try and celebrate the life that you still have. But after the long night, which is supposed to be an apocalyptic event, and they barely survived it, it just felt off.
It didn't do episode 3 justice.
Well, I feel like
I think episode 3 didn't do itself justice.
Yeah, it didn't.
I was just gonna say,
with the deaths, because I still very much enjoy episode 3 as a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest problem is still the lack of character deaths.
Well, I think a lot of like the big episodes that we've seen throughout Game of Thrones, it's usually a build to the top, except for the Winds of Winter, where that started like right away. You're like,
yeah.
What the fuck is going on? So I don't mind that little like, the somber beginning. Now they're kind of dealing with their grief in their own way, celebrating that they survived, having those like little character moments, and then progressively as the episode goes on, I think I said this on our regular review, that each conversation, each discussion, the stakes kind of got higher and higher, because they started talking about, it went from, Gendry going to Arya, then Jaime and Brienne and that stuff, and they obviously get together a little later, then Jon and Daenerys, and talking about that situation and what they should do going forward. Then Jon telling Arya, then the war room sequence, a little bit more serious. Then it's Jon giving that reveal to his sisters. Sansa telling Tyrion and Varys discussing what all this means now that they know Jon's a Targaryen versus Daenerys. Daenerys seemingly, they're alluding maybe possible Mad Queen. Varys has...
losing her power.
Yeah, Varys has doubts about her. So it built to more and more stakes. And as it got closer to the end, it got closer to that political drama that I love of Game of Thrones. I thought this is Varys' and Tyrion's probably strongest episode in a while.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can't remember the last time they had.
Maybe season 7, episode 2 for Varys, when he has that scene with Daenerys, and there was a callback to that when he says that if I ever felt that you were failing the people, that I would confront you. That was a great scene. And the scene between Tyrion and Varys, I said that it reminded me of Chaos is the Ladder. And it looks like Varys is going to betray Daenerys in some way, because that man, his loyalties are just up for sale.
I think that like the conversation between Varys and Tyrion, I think, was one of the strongest parts of the episode. It really felt like a return to form for me. In the show, Varys' motivations kind of don't make any sense because they remove so much of what he is going for in the books. But do you think doubling down on him being a man of the people or the man of like the realm, has that like clarified anything for you? Like, do you think it kind of like clarifies his role in the show or what he's trying to do?
No.
Doesn't make sense.
In the beginning, he was a Blackfyre loyalist. And that's still not confirmed in the book, but he was. So.
Oh, no. When he kills, spoilers for Dance of Dragons, I guess, which is season.
It's been 8 years.
Well, it's season 5, pretty much.
Okay.
Season 6.
Spoilers, usually it's 10 years.
Kevin's in place, and
No, he murders him.
I know, but he's in place, and he murders him because he thinks he'll do too much good for the realm. And that's not good for his plan of bringing Aegon over. So, I mean, in the books, he's not for the people or the realm. He's for himself. And I think when you look back in season 1, they might have had, like, they didn't know where they were going to go with this character. They probably didn't even know if they were going to include young Griff or not. So they kind of set him up working with Illyrio, where he's putting Viserys in power. And we all know Viserys would be a terrible fucking king. And Robert, I mean, for the most part, he wasn't a good king, but there was peace in the realm. And he wanted to create war pretty much by empowering a Targaryen. So that kind of doesn't align with this whole narrative now that he's just for the realm and for the people.
Well, it is what it is, though.
Yeah.
He just is a man of the people, and it would make sense why he would gravitate towards Jon now. Actually, you know what? It actually doesn't, because... Okay, Daenerys, after the situation where her dragon dies, she's obviously very angry, and she might have a bloodlust. She might make a decision to destroy King's Landing, and obviously Varys doesn't agree with that decision. But what has she done, really, before this? Varys heard the stories about her ruling in Meereen and what she was doing in Essos, and he makes the decision to go to Essos with Tyrion to support this person. He gives Tyrion that speech of, she's more gentle than Stannis, but stronger than Tommen, she's a near-perfect ruler. What has she done since then that has shaken his confidence? Possibly, maybe burning King's Landing to the ground because one of her dragons died, because half of her army got depleted. Like I said on our review, it's
not listening to him. Probably that's what's getting
right.
him.
I think it is. It's a touch of arrogance in a way.
Yeah.
It's maybe he sees that Jon Snow is more of a pushover, that he can bend Jon to his will.
Well, he said Daenerys will bend Jon to her will.
Right, but the thing with Daenerys, I said that she's trying to do something. She's trying to change the world. You just don't change the world by playing nice in war. At some point, you do have to get down and dirty. I mean, Cersei Lannister is a very formidable villain. You just don't walk in and say, hey, can you please vacate the premises? I want to sit on the Iron Throne now. I mean, so
Cersei makes a power
I don't know
move.
what Varys wants.
Yeah.
Would he support Jon with his depleted northern forces?
I think the thing with Daenerys, I think there are seeds leading to the Mad Queen, her transformation into a Mad Queen. I believe bits of that exist in the show. I'm not completely surprised, obviously, that they're going this way. And obviously, there are a million theories predicting that she will turn into her father, all this stuff, a Targaryen madness. This episode felt very much like they were telling us, like everyone around Daenerys was telling us, she's going to go crazy. Like, she's going crazy now, and you just have to, like, accept it.
Trying to put it into your head.
We weren't seeing Daenerys go crazy. We were seeing her get angry, but she was doing pretty much the same things she's always been doing. There is, I think, a trend of her, was it Meereen? One of the slave cities where
she kills all the slave owners?
Yeah, like there are a bunch of examples of her trying to be compliant or like complacent, and then when it doesn't work, she just kind of goes postal and kills a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's happened, I think, like 3 times. So it's not surprising that it's happening here. But again, like she's doing the same things she was doing before, and the show was treating it as a victory. So that it's suddenly no longer that. I understand what they're doing, but also it feels like too much too soon. It's sort of like
it was just a character assassination.
My same issue. I want to believe that Sansa is very smart now. She's learned from so many people, and I do believe that, but it's the same kind of thing where suddenly people are just telling us that, and they haven't done a great job of showing us.
Same thing with Bran.
Yeah,
he goes from one season where he's normal Bran to the next season he's Dr. Manhattan.
I think too
They're not even using Bran that well.
No. Oh, well, he's doing stuff, man. He's looking for new decorum.
I'm so disappointed with what they're doing with Bran. After last episode and there's so many things he could be doing, and he's not doing them. And it's like, what's the point of making him the 3-eyed raven then?
Well, I mean, I think this falls in line with the Night King too. If you view it as using these characters for like just as a plot device, the Night King had to bring everyone together. Bran had to tell Jon he's a Targaryen. Disappointing, right? Because because
it took so long.
Yeah, no.
Bran's arc is a goddamn.
I was really like compelled by his arc too. Like
8
I was
seasons.
interested in it.
It's an 8-season arc.
I mean,
when he doesn't appear in all of season 5 after like finding that tree, I was like,
well, Mira's reaction to him in season 7 is kind of how the fans feel now. It's like, thank you, bloody thank you. You know how much we went through to get you to this point.
But Mercer made up great points about Daenerys. I mean, the whole thing around her was, Tyrion had to check her impulses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, her impulses in the past. I think you said this on our last review. It's like, her one impulse was that she killed the slavers. I mean, Barristan gives the other perspective. He advises her not to do it because of just she needs to have these alliances and
she was wrong to do it.
Well, politically speaking,
right?
I mean, these aren't like, they're not great people.
Exactly.
They own slaves.
Yes.
So it's easier for the audience to be like, yeah, kill them. But obviously, when you're playing the game, it's a lot more nuanced than that. So I think when you apply that to killing innocent people in King's Landing, it doesn't correlate. Her impulses in one situation were to kill bad people and kill Randall Tarley and Dickon Tarley because they wouldn't bend a knee. That's different than going to King's Landing and burning the whole city, innocent people, children, and all that. So I think that's a leap just from that perspective, that she would actually do that. And I guess when all she's been through, losing half her army, losing 2 of her dragons, and having Missandei killed in front of her, do you guys think that's enough to make her just go, fuck it, on fire and blood?
Well, yeah, but it's kind of on her, though, because she rushed her way into King's Landing. She rushed her way into an ambush, and she lost her dragon. I think if she realizes that it's on her and she backs up a little bit, instead of pushing it, I think it'd be a lot different.
Well, now
you approach rather than just going into there.
But do you think it's too late now because Missandei has died?
No,
that's the tipping point for her madness.
Missandei?
Yes, Missandei dying in front of her.
Only like Jorah just dying. Missandei is pretty much her only friend she has left.
Because if Daenerys thought about it rationally, to your point, she would blame herself. I rush into this situation. Yeah. I got my friend killed, but she's going to blame Cersei. That wasn't a look of remorse. That was a look of pure hatred. And then I'm going to exact vengeance on Cersei for killing my friend. And Cersei knew what she was doing. She's baiting in Daenerys brilliantly. Just kudos to Cersei Lannister because
opening the gates, bringing everyone to the Red Keep. Oh, yeah, you want to come to the Red Keep? Kill all these people first. I dare you.
Exactly. And the way that she's been playing the game over these last 2 seasons. But I think it is going to be the catalyst. It's as simple. Missandei saying Dracarys is even her encouraging her friend to go Mad Queen.
I saw a tweet that made me very, very sad. It was
about Ghost not being pet.
We'll get to that.
That's one thing.
No, it was about Missandei, like how she was like a former slave, and she at the end she's back in chains, and how her last word was Dracarys, the word that Daenerys used to take out the slavers and free the Unsullied and take her with her. And it was, you can view it from that extent too, and also like fuck these people up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about it in the review, man. One of like the only like really just good characters in the whole show, and I think that was just.
It's a brutal death when you watch it again, and the way that her body falls over.
You don't have to, like, I guess after all these like years of Cersei, just like, it's my favorite character. I think she is the perfect villain for the show, but just watching her without any like opposition, where she is, well, not opposition, but like opposition from the protagonist, where opposition is the High Sparrow, and the High Sparrow you probably hate more. Well, I hated more than Cersei, and seeing her do that and then defeat everyone in King's Landing, become queen, and then exact her revenge on the Sand Snakes. It's kind of like you're rooting for her in a way, and you kind of have her back. And this was just kind of like, oh no, yeah, Cersei, she's evil.
Right, yeah, because it's a character. It's, once again, Cersei is very much like Tywin, where they're just practical. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past, if you're a good person or a bad person. She used Missandei as a pawn. It could have been anybody else. It could have been Missandei. It could have been the High Sparrow. It just happens that in this situation we love Missandei.
Well, I think the fact that she is one of those like real decent characters in the show, it just exemplifies that point more, that they're trying to drive home.
Especially as everyone thought she was going to make it too.
Well, I think sometimes we like to imagine everybody views Cersei like we do. There's still a lot of the fan base that hates Cersei.
No,
I think more people appreciate her character, but It almost sounds like you're saying they use Missandei to get us against Cersei once again.
Yeah.
But they tried.
Which a lot of people already kind of are. It's weird, too, because, I don't know, a lot of people are against Daenerys as well. And that's why it's almost like we obviously hold Daenerys to a higher standard because she's out here saying, I was born into the world to defeat tyrants. Mm-hmm. So it's like...
Varys calls her a tyrant in the next scene.
Yeah.
What they tried doing a lot in this episode was subverting and trying to get you to think one way and then do the other. I think what would have made this episode a lot better is if she would have killed Tyrion. You want to portray Cersei as this big bad the entire time. You kill Tyrion. You don't let him live. You don't hold the archers at him and then let him go. You don't have the dragon sitting right there in front of you with 40 gigantic crossbows.
Yeah,
kill him.
You made the point that Cersei was being honorable in this situation. No, she was. But you're saying why wouldn't she just attack at this point? You've got the whole battlements filled with scorpions. Get that dragon.
Well, get
Daenerys,
get Tyrion.
Yeah, get all of them.
Cersei is an opportunist, and that's her opportunity right there to win. You could have won right there.
Since when did she play fair?
Customs and like, I don't mind that.
Who set that meeting
up in a giant religious temple?
I know.
Who set that meeting up? Like,
I think Tyrion.
Stuff like that.
Elmo.
Stuff like that would have been nice to see. Instead, you get
That's the second time I used
a scene transition from back at Winterfell, and now they're all in King's Landing.
People, but I mean, like those are. I agree with you, but that's happened so many times throughout the show where things just happen just to further the narrative.
But that's like a dramatic advantage that she has in that situation.
Oh no, of course, but it's just like I guess you just.
That's like The Departed when they've got the machine
guns
after
in the
all.
back. We have to.
Where's Yara too, though? I thought we had
She'll
Yara
be in the next episode.
Yeah, but I thought we had Yara to help fight Euron.
This wasn't a fight. This was a meeting. This was to
I know, but
discuss terms of surrender. And also, I think
on their way to King's Landing, isn't Yara their backup? Where was she? She's still in Iron Islands?
Yeah, I think they just didn't need her navy. I think they said that
Does she have much of a navy right now?
Well, Varys said that she reclaimed the Salt Throne. She was coming to join them, and the Prince of Dorne.
Oh, yeah.
Who the hell is the Prince of Dorne?
No clue.
You think he makes an appearance?
Quentin Martell?
It might be Quentin, yeah. Imagine he tries to fly Drogon. It's like, it's up to me. I've got Targaryen blood from my great-great-aunt.
I didn't like Missandei's death.
No.
Well, did you not like it as far as how it was executed, or just that you didn't like
that she's dead.
Her dying?
Did you not like that she was being used as a pawn?
It didn't make sense to me that she was just suddenly there, that Cersei just had her after that shipwreck. I know this is like they're calling back specifically because she was a slave. I didn't like that she died in chains. I didn't like that she died this way. I feel like if she had died any other way, I would have been more okay with it.
Because it is true.
Missandei's.
We've talked about this too. The scene with Marine, the Misa moment. Looking back, kind of awkward.
I mean, Daenerys is very much the white savior of the show. Literally,
yes.
Like in that scene, she is bright white. And Missandei at this point was pretty much one of the only female characters who wasn't white left in the show. And they just killed her like this, putting her back in chains, and it felt wrong.
Yeah, I can understand that it's not a great look. I think it's almost ridiculous to think that they did capture her, because that couldn't have been the plan. We need to capture Missandei, and
Which
that's
is
going
why I think
push her over the edge.
That's like part of my problem with it is that
it felt like that.
It didn't make sense to me that they had Missandei and that she was there.
Right.
After they just found her,
Yeah,
I mean, we don't
know
what was happening.
The wreckage. Who
very
swam
much
and captured her? Yeah.
I can't even properly articulate this.
So you're saying maybe if they made more of an effort to show how she ended up in that situation, if it made more sense that she was captured, and it's like Cersei realizes,
a fisherman finds Missandei something, and then
I'm not.
and then tries to bring it to Cersei.
Good tonight.
Something like that. Like she washes up the shore, and someone finds her.
I'm pretty sure Cersei does know who Missandei is, right?
They met at the.
They met last season, so it's not.
And there's got to be some sort of intel that that's her best friend.
Yeah, it's not that Cersei wouldn't know that Missandei is important to Daenerys. It just felt to me. The show at this point was like, who else can we kill that's important to Daenerys to push this Mad Queen agenda? And I don't think Missandei needed to be one of them.
Well, that's exactly how I felt with the killing of the dragon. This was just their attempt to we'll do the unexpected. We'll kill anybody. And then they kill the dragon. For what?
Yeah, I guess
killing the dragon felt to me like they needed to reduce the CGI budget.
Right.
It was like, we don't want to animate any more
I
dragons.
heard.
When
I
Jon
saw a
sends
meme like
dragon
what,
up north with
That's why
Tormund.
they got rid of
yeah,
Ghost.
that's exactly
No,
why.
that's exactly
that's
why
what I
they
saw.
got rid of Ghost.
That pissed
Doesn't
me
excuse
off.
the fact that Jon didn't pet him.
No.
I saw a meme. It broke my heart when Ghost is watching Jon hug Gilly, and Ghost thinks to himself, "Oh, I hope I get a hug." And then Jon walks past him, and he goes, "Am I not a good boy?"
Damn.
Damn.
How? Why? That's inexcusable.
Why bring
That
him
Jon
back
didn't
if
pet
you?
him.
Yeah. Why bring Ghost back if you're just gonna do that? First of all, you send Ghost with the Dothraki, who all die except for Ghost. Then you bring him back. Okay, all right, yeah, Ghost is back,
Ghost is
Well,
alive.
and then you send him with Tormund. Are you kidding me?
I just want to go back to the Missandei thing real quick. I mean, if it does play out where Daenerys does become the Mad Queen and she just goes crazy, would that? I mean, wouldn't you need something like that though?
I think we've
Shouldn't-
I
already
think
had
she's just
enough of it. Like,
Aren't you more
Yeah.
upset about the execution of how Missandei ended up?
Yeah, I'm
than
not-
I think
like with the show, like, I'm not upset that Missandei died. I don't like how she died.
Yes. Right.
And also, but I feel like Jorah's dead. They got one of her dragons. I feel like there were enough moments leading up to them pushing this Mad Queen thing that they didn't need to also kill Missandei.
She's got to go Mad Queen at this point, right? It's
I
going to
could-
happen.
You might as well.
I think if she does, it would make
You're
more.
there.
It would make more.
Yeah, just give us the.
It would make more sense for like just Daenerys' character, like just focusing on that. If she does, if it's Rhaegal and Missandei. If it was just Rhaegal, I can see people are like we've said that it might already be a leap for her to go Mad Queen this late in the game, just from those two alone. But if it was just Rhaegal and they do it, then I think that just exemplifies that fact that it just happened out of nowhere. So I think maybe she might have needed that Missandei to actually see it and actually have it by Cersei's command. I think that just makes it just more personal. And if they do follow through with that Mad Queen storyline, I think it's just I don't know. I don't think Rhaegal would have been enough to.
It's just, to me, it kind of feels like they fridged Missandei.
I
Kind of. I mean, it's not.
It's almost
It's
hard
not
to
like
make that
fridging
case.
in the most like worst, in the worst sense of what fridging is. But Missandei, to me, very felt like this was an unnecessary death that happened specifically to push Daenerys off the edge, and I feel like Missandei deserved. Oh my God. I feel like Missandei, as a character we've seen for so long, deserved more than that.
Yeah. Well, she should have deserved
saw it
Grey
coming,
Worm
though.
dying in the long
Oh
night.
yeah, so
You saw it coming,
like-
100%.
I was expecting
Yeah,
her
I
to
wanna
die
laugh
like
at
a
this.
million times.
Really?
It was like a Ned Stark moment for
I mean,
me.
when
was
she
like,
said
who's saving her?
Dracarys, I was like, is the dragon gonna roll
Oh,
up?
I thought maybe the dragons would come.
I
start
thought
lighting
Rhaegal
shit
was
up.
alive again.
Well, I think it made more sense when we saw episode.
I'm such an idiot. I really thought that. I was like, Rhaegal didn't die.
I think it made
I
more.
knew it.
It would have made more sense in episode 2 because especially that moment. I think you called it out as being a. What word did you use in your crazy vocabulary?
Cathartic.
Abundant.
No, the moment between Missandei and Grey Worm. It was a like foreshadowing of death, but you used the better
A
word.
white flag or death flag?
Death flag.
I called it a death flag.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
You
not-
said Lyanna Mormont got juiced.
She did get juiced.
That was every time I see that now, I just think of a juice box being squeezed.
So when we were talking about like all right, so one of them, obviously Grey Worm and Missandei in the Battle of Winterfell were gonna die, and Grey Worm's gonna be right in the thick of things. It just seemed like he was, but
It made much more sense for Grey Worm to die.
yeah,
Like he's
Right.
a soldier.
What the hell is going on with that?
Like
Yeah, I thought he
Grey
was
Worm
dead.
was a soldier. He was in the middle of the battle, and he's still alive.
I'm surprised he didn't.
I was also so sad when he like turned away from
Yeah.
seeing.
Ooh.
That broke my heart.
That's how I look when Jon didn't pet Ghost.
Like, I know we've been waiting for Clegane Bowl, but I need Grey Worm to get a couple swings
Yeah,
at him.
you want to see him get his head squished
Have you
before
seen that
Clegane.
meme? And it's like a bunch of people like playing rock paper scissors. And it's like, okay, who gets to kill Cersei now?
Yeah, yeah. It's the Office meme when they're
Yeah.
all shooting at each other.
Yeah, I
It's
saw that.
Arya,
That was dying.
Jaime, and Grey Worm.
So, do you think that what Daenerys said, we'll get a meeting going and we'll tell the people that Cersei has one chance to surrender? Like, do you think, is that her last ditch effort to show that she still has compassion? Or is that just like, I'm just going to do it for show? But I really
Yeah.
do want to go crazy on these people.
It's a little bit, yeah. It's the propaganda game because
Well,
Cersei played her hand. Now I have to at least extend
She
a
has
piece.
to humor her.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And Tyrion said too, is like, why not just meet with Cersei, try to make the effort to, if there's a chance that we could save these people, let's do it. And Daenerys responds something along the lines of, all right, let's do it. And then people will know who to blame when the sky falls down upon them or something like that.
But the thing is, I don't think
Yeah,
Tyrion is going
get
to.
burned up.
That was a great line
Mm.
when the sky falls on them.
Mm.
The thing with Tyrion is he's shown to be very ruthless in the past when people take stabs at people he cares about. when he thought that Cersei kidnapped Shay, and it turned out to be Roz. Even seeing what she did to Roz, that's where you get the famous line that your joy will turn to ashes in your mouth, and that might happen next episode if Daenerys burns the whole place down. It feels like Tyrion has gone soft, and I don't know if this is just the combination that they made where they combined his and Barristan's arcs in the show, but you would think after everything that this man has seen that Cersei is doing, I don't think he's going to betray her. I think it will be Varys, and I think maybe Tyrion rats out Varys before Varys can somehow maneuver Jon onto the throne. But he was very against Varys in that scene.
But he's more on the fence than people...
He's on the fence, but I don't know. I feel like after seeing everything that he's seen over these past couple of episodes, he would be more sympathetic towards Daenerys' impulses.
I think he just has more faith in Daenerys, so he's not trying to push his cards with Varys.
It seemed like Tyrion...
But how many times is Cersei going to fuck Tyrion over before he's like, burn the whole place down?
His speech, like to her going up to the battlements, I guess.
Yes.
And he brings up her children, but I don't know. I was just like, why are you doing this?
Is she even pregnant?
Well, Aaron said that it was a last-ditch effort to save Missandei.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just like, I felt like...
Which didn't work.
Tyrion... I sent you that picture, and it's like, and Tyrion is like, I don't know how to explain to you that you need to care about people. But I don't...
He's like Mr. Rogers trying to talk to Bakugo on My Hero Academia. It's like, it's not going to work, dude. She's too far gone.
It felt so hopeless.
But even with Sansa before when they're talking, and she deduces that he's scared of her, he kind of like tries to justify his own fear in the queen that he serves by saying, oh, all rulers should inspire fear in yourself. Like, not, I mean, to your subjects, not your loyal advisors. And that's kind of like he's trying to justify that. And even with Varys, he's like, don't tell me you didn't think about it. He's like, it's like, I thought about it. That's not treason to think. I think Daenerys, if she found out that you were thinking about it, she would consider that pretty treasonous.
Yes.
It's like Tyrion has staked so much into Daenerys at this point. He feels like he can't give up on her. Like he needs to see it through. And it felt like he was a drowning man, like desperate, literally drowning.
Yeah, no, he was.
Trying to grasp onto something. And it felt kind of tragic almost in a way. Like tragic what they've done to Tyrion's character, but also just he's at this point. I don't know what he's gonna do like later on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to in these last couple of episodes. The intrigue is what's going to happen between Jon, Daenerys, Tyrion, and Varys. How are all these characters going to where do these arcs end individually?
Well, even Sansa too. Like she can't stay in Winterfell.
No, she can't stay in Winterfell, but I don't know if maybe Sansa and Arya have some sort of plan to put Jon on the throne, because Arya said I don't think Arya is going to blab about the secret, but Sansa was quick to tell Tyrion. And she says, what if there was somebody better? So her learning about Jon being a Targaryen only made her feel closer to him.
What people were shocked that she like just told like right away. I mean, if everything she's learned from Littlefinger, you don't think that's a very, very Littlefinger I don't even know how.
Littlefinger-ian?
Yeah. Littlefinger-ish.
Littlefinger-ish.
To put that plan in motion,
I feel like that's
Jon's
Jon's
she obviously
plan.
wants her brother on the throne.
Yeah,
I really think that.
Planting that with Tyrion, that's calculated. She wasn't just like, oh, you guys hear what happened with Jon?
You guys won't believe it.
You're not going to believe what happened. Yeah, he's actually talking. It was a calculated plan that all the years, she said earlier in that episode, I don't think it's a coincidence that she learned from Littlefinger. She was not that little bird because of Littlefinger. And I'm leaving out Ramsay because
I don't know if I like that little bird line.
There's a lot about the Hound Sansa conversation that I don't love.
He's a little vulgar.
Yeah, the whole thing about being broken
Him describing her own rape to her was very yikes.
Well, no, even her saying that, like, everything that happened to me, really getting raped and tortured like this is...
No, I mean, that obviously, it's like she is the person she is because of those things.
I think the way that scene was framed was kind of like she couldn't have become this person without it, and that's...
Well, that's why I said...
It's like there's some kind of level of nuance missing from there, I think.
I think I said that she should have said Cersei instead of Ramsay or someone else along those lines, because you can take things and from Littlefinger, from Cersei, and apply them into who you are now and be like, oh, I can take, even though I hate Cersei, she still did some things that I can learn from. Ramsay, I guess you just
learned shit from Ramsay.
No, you just learn, like, I guess the world's a cruel place, but she learned that well before she ever met Ramsay.
There is something missing from that scene where it's... Yeah, it came off off-putting to me as well. She said I had to go through these things in order to not be that little bird anymore. But it's almost the harsh reality of the world of Westeros. Of
yeah, I
medieval
was going to
times.
say that. Like even probably Olenna and Marjorie have gone through some sort of.
But these same things have also happened to the male characters on the show.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like
look at Theon.
It is a medieval society after all.
Different, yeah, but I mean, you look at somebody like Theon. Look what he went through to become a decent man.
I mean, I feel like Theon is almost like the exception,
right?
Not the rule.
Yeah,
I mean the road to power for a female character in this world is a harder road than a guy whose father dies
almost
and you
all
take
of them
up
have
Lord
gotten
of,
raped,
or
like
going
brutalized, like nearly all of them, and it's
except Arya.
Except Arya, and Arya has gone through a lot herself.
Right, but the characters who haven't been assaulted in that way are usually very masculine.
Which is, another
It's
weird,
a trope.
It's a weird thing about the show that...
Well, it's also a weird thing about the show that's not necessarily from the books, specifically for Sansa.
I mean, yeah, they did rape her, like have her be raped on the show when it was not something that happened to her in the books, from what I understand.
But it was also a reunion that I enjoyed because the Hound always had a soft spot for Sansa.
I did like when he...
And their relationship in season 1, season 2 is really cool.
Yeah, I liked when he sort of expressed his guilt for like wishing she had come with him back when he was trying to leave King's Landing. And he didn't. What did he say? If you had come with me, none of this would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that he expressed some kind of remorse for it because, like, they were close, as close as they could be in those times and where they were. I don't know.
Do any of you guys think that Jon really does want the throne? Because I feel like he wouldn't have said anything if he really didn't want it. And plus, he's taking on that role too. In that feast scene, the way everyone's embracing him, he's finally happy. It looked like. I really think he wants the throne, but he's trying to play it off like he doesn't.
I don't think so. I mean, this whole.
I'm somebody who thinks that he's going to want the throne by the end of the show.
If he sees Daenerys if he just fundamentally just disagrees with her about killing people in King's Landing, if she does go that route, then Jon might be like, well, that's the only chance. Like, that's the only, I have to. Not because I want to.
No, either that or if Daenerys tries to turn him against his family. That's when.
I mean, she did try.
Yeah.
Sort of. As soon as she told him to keep that secret, I was like, he's going to tell them immediately.
But she made a good point.
Do you guys watch Parks and Rec?
No, if he really, that's what I'm saying. If he really doesn't want the throne, don't say anything.
Yes.
But he's saying it anyway.
But I can also see it from Jon's perspective where I said this in the review, he wants to get that weight off of his shoulders.
He's that honorable of a
something
fucking
like
man.
that,
I mean,
you want to tell your sisters and your only brother.
He's not capable of, like, dealing with... Like, he didn't keep the secret that Ned kept for his entire life.
Ned was a fucking champion, dude.
Jon's more honorable than Ned, huh? Doesn't keep any secrets, no matter what the implications are. He was very naive in that scene, but it was. Remember in Parks and Rec when they're running for city council and Bobby Newport wants Leslie to quit the race.
Yeah,
he's like, "Give me it,
give me it."
It's like I want it. Give me. It kind of reminded me of Daenerys, just like, shut up. I want to be. I want this. Stop doing this.
It's that, but it's also more of.
But Jon
she
too,
knows how people are going to try and pull him in all different directions.
Yeah.
It's already starting with Varys. One of her most trusted advisors is already working against her because he found out the secret. It's a matter of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's also this thing. She spent. The thing that's kept her alive the entire show was the idea that she'd get on the Iron Throne, and now she's understandably hysterical that she might not get it after all.
She's right there too.
Yeah, she's so
like
close.
So close. Like that scene, like she was like, I've never begged before, but I'm begging you now. I like felt bad for her.
No, me too.
This girl had 3 dragons like 4 episodes ago. she's down to 1 dragon and half a fleet.
Yeah.
A couple things though, like Jon, we always said Starks, honorable, you love them. They're dumb.
Yeah.
They're fucking dumb. How naive is he? Now, Sansa and Arya, they'll be fine with this. Like,
Jon, who can't keep a secret, tells his sisters, who are the best at keeping secret.
Well, even like people like Cersei, he's like, Benton needed Daenerys. Can't tell a lie. Was that George Washington? Couldn't tell a lie. But that's what he is. And
but he was also right to tell Cersei that he bent the knee.
I know, but
Cersei was going to betray them anyway. Yeah, didn't matter.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, he just doesn't have that in him to like keep the secret away from his family. And Daenerys too. I mean,
but that's also understandable. I mean, the guy, his whole life, he's been told, "You're a bastard. You're not a Stark. You have to join the Night's Watch. You don't get lands, titles. You can't have kids. You can't get married." Just kidding.
He's the most honorable one.
But keep that to yourself for the rest of your life.
It's just so funny though, looking back at Daenerys.
I would tell people, are you kidding me? I'm a fucking Targaryen. I'd be
Kidding
rocking
me?
the new armor and shit. I'd be dyeing my hair silver.
I'm tweeting that as soon as I find out about it.
Yeah, you don't call me Aegon. I'm not responding. I'm not even looking at you, son.
But back when Daenerys was talking about the wheel and she wants to break it, and a lot of people thought that implied maybe a democratic system where the feudal system is no longer.
Yeah.
I think it was more of her just wanting to kill everybody.
That's what I was thinking. Because everyone, like, she was talking to Jon like, everyone loves you, everyone wants you as the king, but
Nah, dog.
I want the throne.
Nope,
it's
not
like
today.
breaking the wheel in the way people theorize it. It would be like, yeah, if everyone wants Jon, he should be the leader. But then she goes back to like, well, now it's my birthright.
Well,
so.
Tyrion's probably having those thoughts in the back of his head too.
Well, he brings
I
it up.
think
It's
I
like-
misunderstood that whole breaking the wheel.
Well, when he
philosophy.
brings it up in season 7, he's like, you know, the Night's Watch has their way of their kind of way of breaking the
the method of
metaphorical
succession.
wheel, and she's like, I don't want to talk about that now.
Yeah, we'll talk about it once I get the throne.
But it is crazy how in Game of Thrones it's like a bloodline is what makes you royalty or not.
Right. Well, that's
like-
that's the
history.
whole. No, but that's what's so ridiculous about it. That's what's so great about the R+L=J theory is that this kid who was born to a dynasty that lasted 300 years was considered a bastard, and then you have Joffrey Baratheon, who is a terrible little shit, a horrible human being, but he was a bastard. But everybody believed he was royalty. That's why it's ridiculous. It's nothing. It means nothing. But obviously in this world, I mean, having the blood from old Valyria, you can ride a dragon. That's pretty cool. I guess that makes you special.
Do you think Jon would be a good king?
Yes, I do. And I said last episode, Jon or Sansa would be my ideal choice to rule. I'm supporting either one of them in 2020.
In the same way that everyone is saying Daenerys is going crazy, I feel like they're also just telling me that Jon is going to be a great ruler.
But the thing is, I think Daenerys would be a great ruler as well. And if the philosophy is breaking the wheel like we thought it was, then I'm supporting Daenerys, because if you want to change the world, then you got to get your hands dirty. Jon, Sansa, they're not changing the world. They're going to make sure that the trains run on time, but they're not changing the schedules.
Well,
you
that's
know,
a great analogy.
Yeah,
It's funny though too. Like everyone, like you just
They'll
said,
play the game.
you just
no,
said,
they're going to play the game better than anybody else, and they'll keep the peace to an extent of the feudalistic society, but that society is not changing.
you said either Jon or Sansa, and Varys says, you know, sometimes the person who doesn't want it might be best suited for the throne. Both times Jons were in position of leadership, his people fucking hated him. It's like they didn't agree with anything he did.
I mean,
This guy
he
got
got
stabbed.
One got him-
He got
yeah.
murdered.
One got him killed, and the other one, Lord Glover's like, maybe we should have stuck with Sansa.
And he left.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But I mean, also, like, we haven't seen Daenerys do much ruling either. It's like she conquered the slave cities and then left, and then they immediately went back to slave cities.
Right.
And then she got, like, taken away from Marine before she could really do much, and what she was doing there didn't work out that well.
But they
So-
were both in positions where there was such a strong opposition. The ideal time to rule was when Robert Baratheon crushed the Targaryen dynasty. That's when a character like a Ned or a Jon or a Daenerys would be the best rulers, because you don't have that harsh opposition. Jon Snow was ruling people that he was sharing a house with the Night's Watch. And in
A
terms
castle.
of being kings in the... Yeah, a castle. Okay. Let's see if Bronn
they
gets
don't
one.
call it House Black, it's Castle Black.
Castle Black. House Black would actually be cooler.
There's no shot Bronn's getting the castle.
Well, and then when he's
Ever.
ruling the over the north, it's your opposition is right in front of you all the time. When you're ruling on the Iron Throne, you're sitting on this giant chair. Everybody's looking up at you. You meet with your subjects. It's the deliberation is different. So when she was ruling in Marine, that's a foreign invader who said, "Hey, you know slavery's been going on for thousands of years. No more."
I mean, she's coming to Westeros in a similar fashion.
Yeah,
She's a foreign invader who's like, I'm going to do things my way now.
right.
And she doesn't have the greatest track record of, like, actually being able to do the things she wants.
Like I said, they're trying to change things. So if Daenerys wasn't invading, I mean, Cersei Lannister would be a pretty good ruler, right? If he has no
No.
opposition.
What is Cersei really doing besides just having power?
Being king must be fucking boring.
Right?
That's the thing.
I was looking back to like when Daenerys is a Marine and she's like, oh, how many others are there? Just listen to people's problems. Just go to your castle and chill.
I don't know if I'm looking into it, but
House Aaron, just fucking
you
leave
fe-
me alone in my castle.
House Aaron. Well, there already is a House Aaron,
Oh,
and they're in a castle
man.
that nobody can reach.
do you feel like there's going to be more with
Hell yeah.
Gendry? Or was that just like something nice for Gendry?
That was also, I think, fan servicey.
Yeah, right.
Political
The
man-
proposal
But I loved
scene
it.
was kind of cringy.
Which one?
The proposal. Well, it's because
Yeah.
I was like, Arya's not going to say yes.
Gendry Rivers? This I can get pissed about because this is true to form.
My brother thinks Gendry's going to be on the throne.
All right, good thing we don't have him here. We have.
I'm excited to see Storm's End. We've never seen it. I hope we do see it.
All right, like you can maybe be loose with the plot. Writing might not be as great, but when they get shit like I don't know what their problem is with bastard names. Jon is not Jon Sands.
Okay, we've heard.
Bran's supposed to be all knowing. He doesn't know.
All right.
I mean, am I wrong? Gendry was born in King's Landing and raised in King's Landing. Should be if he was never recognized. If he never knew Robert was his thing, he didn't know he was Robert's bastard until Melisandre. He just I guess I was on a river when I heard it. You're Blackwater anyway. It's not even a river. But I'm just saying.
So he's Bronn's son. What's Bronn's name if he takes over Highgarden? Bronn Blackwater?
That's a hell of a name.
That is a great name. House Blackwater?
I really thought that Bronn was going to get Jaime for like a hot second.
Well, this guy the whole week is like, the whole season 8, he's like, he's not going to really kill them. And even in that scene, he's like, he wouldn't have killed them.
I mean, at the beginning of that scene, I was like, he's not going to do it. And he didn't. But for a second,
I'm
I
surprised
was convinced he would.
Old friends, man.
He came
no.
in.
No.
A couple guys.
You are reading Bronn so wrong,
He came in real
dude.
hot. Bronn came in like way more intense than I expected him to. I thought he was going to come in and like throw the crossbow on the table and be like, your sister wants me to kill you. But instead,
no.
I mean, I thought like, maybe they were
because
closer.
If somebody told Bronn in that moment, you kill both of them, you get Highgarden, he would have done it without question.
But the thing is too, and listen to me for a second. I mean,
okay, you got 1 second.
Bitter Steel and Bloodraven, they're
trying to get it in 1 second.
They're royal bastards, but their mothers were both from the Riverlands, so it made sense why their last names was Rivers, even though they were born in King's Landing. I don't think Gendry's. All right.
What else do we have here? Well, that's really, I mean, we've touched on a lot of things here.
The Hound and Arya. I know we talked about that.
That's
right?
cool. Back on the road again, like Shrek and Donkey, except they're both miserable. That conversation they had.
You're gonna leave me again?
He's like, it must have felt good to stab that horned fucker. The Night King, man. R.I.P. I miss him.
What else?
I like when he did the thing where he raised his hands, and everybody came back to life.
Oh, Ghost. That's fucked up.
Oh boy.
Are we done with Sam and Tormund and Gilly?
Personal attack.
And Ghost?
Maybe.
Yeah, right? Like they were like, we're not coming with you. And it's like, is that it?
Where is Sam going? Shouldn't he be going to Hornhill?
No, Daenerys didn't give him the fucking castle.
No, it's got to be his.
She gave Gendry.
No, but she's got.
She gave it to him when she talked to him in the keep. No.
No, she never said that it was officially his. But they're just assuming that it passes down.
Going back
him.
to the Night's Watch.
No, the Night's Watch has to be done, right?
I know. Well, that's what. I mean, Tormund says he'll go to Castle Black after winter.
But
down.
just to live there, I think.
I'm thinking do a power move, go to Hornhill.
Yeah, it's just yours. No, I think they're just assuming. Why would you need the Night's Watch? I mean, the Wildlings, I guess, are subjects of the Seven Kingdoms at this point. The North is just part of the Northern Kingdom.
Yeah.
They have no threats. I mean, obviously there might be ice spiders as big as hounds up there, but there's no more White Walkers.
Tarly should get Highgarden then. He's probably the highest ranking lord in the Reach.
Give him Hornhill.
I'm just saying he should be warden.
I want Bronn to get Highgarden.
You want Bronn to be warden of the fucking South?
Yes.
That'd be dope.
You're telling me the wacky adventures of Bronn ruling Highgarden? I think Bronn would be
That's a spin-off
very.
I'd watch.
Yes, I think he would be a very efficient lord. Actually, I really do.
There's no shot he wants to be a lord.
He's smarter than people give him credit for. He's not going to take anybody's shit. Apparently, he's got a soft spot for friends, but
I really didn't think that he was gonna kill him.
I actually love that scene because the way that he was breaking down how everything works in Westeros was so funny. It was just stop with all of your nonsense. When Jaime was so disgusted by the thought, like you are, of Bronn being the warden of the South, he's like, a cutthroat can never be the Lord of Highgarden. I was like, shut the fuck up. What are you? You're a cutthroat. We're all cutthroats.
Yeah, just give fucking Tormund Castle Rock. Actually.
Talk about turning Castle Rock into a whorehouse. That's what Tywin said about Tyrion. Who has Castle Rock at this point? I guess it would be Tyrion, right? It's all a mess.
What, like lineage-wise? Because I know they abandoned it last season.
Right. Well, Jaime said they would be able to take it back, no problem. But now Jaime's on. But Jaime's a knight.
Is Jaime
No,
gonna?
didn't Tywin give it to someone?
Kill Cersei?
Tywin gave it to someone.
No, he gave it. Well, he
was
wanted
supposed
to give
it to Jaime, but then Jaime's Kingsguard lost to Kingsguard, and Kevin had it. Kevin died, so presumably it would be Jaime's. But then Jaime left Cersei, so Cersei.
R.I.P. Kevin.
But they abandoned it. It would be Jaime, but
well, let's talk about Jaime going south. Him leaving Brienne.
No.
I mean,
he's going to kill Cersei.
The second Sansa said that Jaime was staying in the north, I was like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way he's staying here. I thought he and Brienne would go south originally when they first said it.
You think Brienne goes after him?
Maybe. I don't know.
Like Sam and John. What does Sansa say after? She's like, oh, I wanted to be there when they execute your sister.
No, I don't think I'll get the chance.
Is that because she thinks Cersei, now that she killed the dragon,
she's gonna
win, or she just pissed off Daenerys?
I think it's
she's
because
about to burn alive.
I think it's that because she pissed off Daenerys that she'll just get burned alive and there won't be like an execution to see.
Well, for Sansa too, that makes sense. She doesn't have the greatest opinion of Daenerys, so
I can see Cersei winning, man.
It's not a stretch for her to leave to be like, yeah, she's gonna just fucking burn everybody. Yeah, he goes south because I think how did I put it on the review? It was a verbal rock.
Oh, it was like when Arya was leaving Nymeria, that he was throwing a rock at Brienne's face, but it was a verbal rock. It was him telling her that I'm a bad person. That's why I always have to go back to Cersei. But it was so that she wouldn't try to keep him from leaving.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
It didn't.
It was a misdirect for the audience.
I mean, it might also just be me hoping too much because I like Jaime that he isn't actually going back to Cersei. He's just going to kill her instead.
I think either way works, but I think the fandom, if you've read the books, Balin Clark Theory, people just are so pretty much convinced Jaime's going to kill Cersei.
If they're going to give us all these other fan servicey things, at least give us this.
Well, it's not fucking.
It's not even fan service.
It's not Jaime and Bran fucking. It's not Gendry getting Storm's End. This is Jaime killing Cersei. It's a lot bigger stakes. And if we had so long to theorize that, it's kind of like expected. Although I have listened to like other people who haven't read the books and probably aren't as avid Game of Thrones fans. Like they watch a show and love it, but they're like, oh, Arya, the Hat. Like they're just thinking of all the different people who would kill Cersei. Daenerys.
Grey Worm now.
Yeah, Grey Worm. But I think it's been set up to be Jaime for a while. So I think that was kind of them just like, oh,
set up in the show.
We don't know. We don't know what he's gonna do. And
was it set up in the show?
The Valentine prophecy
the other guys, though?
No, it's not in the show. And I think they left that out to make it even less obvious. But
who do you want to kill Cersei?
Personally, Arya.
You want to give her the two big bodies in the season?
I want Jaime to kill Cersei.
Me too.
It's just more poetic. And
have you heard
his gold?
I don't know, because I can see Jaime going back to Cersei because he misses her, and the first time he hears her name, this is like his first contact from Cersei since he left. You know, he wants to go back to her now, like he misses her.
Maybe.
So I can see him going back to be with her.
What I got from it was almost he wants to kill Cersei, so Daenerys can't, in a way, if that makes sense. Like,
well, it's kind of like him.
Why else tell Brienne that you're so bad, like you're this bad of a person?
Because you don't want her to think it's like he cares for Brienne, obviously, and he doesn't want her to think it's on her, it's on him, kind of not you, it's me type thing. But a little more. You could have maybe eased up because I felt so bad for Brienne when she was crying.
I wanted to see some action. You know, they cut.
I
talk about a cut
it.
that I. If you're gonna give me a dry hump or two.
I want to. I think that also too with Jaime, he's anywhere you like if they do.
Any way you slice it.
Well, I mean,
is that what you're gonna say?
I don't know. If, like what Teddy just said, like if he is going back to Cersei, people who've had that feeling that that's what they got from that scene were saying like, oh, his character destroyed all of his development, destroyed his arc. But that's Jaime's character, really. He listed all the time, even in River Run. That's what, season 6, when he said he would fucking catapult Lord Edemir's baby into like.
Yeah.
Well, he's always been a great character, and that's more of a thing because he wanted to get what he wanted in that situation. He is a morally great character, though. Like he will do things that other people would seem unredeemable, but he's still in his heart good. I mean, also too, what you were saying, like, was that you, Marissa, who said that he was going back to kill Cersei before Daenerys can?
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from it. I mean, but when he was listing all the stuff he did, I was like, oh man, I guess you really did do all that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Jaime doesn't change. It's just your perception of him changes because you learn more about him. You learn that he is capable of goodness, but that he also has these tendencies towards violence and committing these heinous
when he killed
acts.
His cousin, and when he's in prison, he's like, it's like, yeah, what can I do to help? It's like, I need you to die. And he strangles him. But that was
brutal. But they did share a nice moment before that when he said Barristan Selmy paints with red. Mm-hmm. I like that line.
But that could be like, I don't know. It's interesting too. Like this is just just spitballing here, but Jaime killing Cersei before a Targaryen can burn the city. Very reminiscent of him killing the incumbent monarch to save the city from being burnt down.
It's poetic. Comes full circle.
So that would not the city again.
Yeah, right. And he's Queenslayer this time.
Gotta get both of them.
I wish he would have killed the
And
Night
he kills
King,
himself,
actually.
and then he's a king, queen, slayer.
He's a knight. Yeah, wow.
Well, a double negative. That's got to take away the Kingslayer, right?
2 queen, 2
let me, you got any scrap paper?
Yeah, let's just try to figure this out.
I just wanted to say real quick, we talked about this like forever ago, but cutting the scene of Arya and Sansa's reactions to finding out that Jon is a Targaryen, I wanted to see that reaction, and I feel like this season especially, there have been a lot of moments where they cut right before we get to like the things that we want. They're cutting before the parts that we really want, I think, to keep purposely ambiguous, so that way when they do random stuff later, it's kind of just like, oh, it happened during the scene that you didn't see, but you can sort of like infer it from that.
I think the Bran and Tyrion one is more...
But the Arya Sansa one is... Yeah. We're going to sit through that explanation again.
Well, yeah, the Bran and Tyrion one,
you don't need the whole thing.
I just wanted to
see
them. Yeah, I wanted to see them react to it.
But like the Bran and Tyrion, like they would have...
the Sansa reaction with Tyrion was all that you needed to see.
Yeah.
No,
I think
we needed to see what happened between them in that moment. Especially like they squatted up on him.
I don't know. See, you kind of
they pressed him in the fucking.
Arya did. He was probably
that scene
shook.
where like all 3 of them are like facing him. I was like, that was cool.
That was awesome.
That was a nice
she stands
shot.
right in front of him. She's like, well, she killed the Night King. I better listen to this little girl.
But what would the reaction would have been like? What?
Yeah, but that's like
it's not like something where you're just like. Then they go into like this
to
deep
it
like
first.
I'm gonna reference my mom on this review because she's always like. She said the same thing. She's like, when did Sansa learn about Jon being a Targaryen? I'm like, in the Godswood. And then she's like, well, when did Tyrion learn? I was like, when he spoke to Sansa. You didn't have a problem picking up on that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I knew like how people were finding out. I just wanted to see the reaction.
You just wanted to see the reactions, right?
Because I feel like the scene... Them finding out and then Sansa telling Tyrion, I think we're supposed to understand it's been at least a few days, maybe a couple weeks. We don't know how much time is passing in this episode.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see her initial moment of shock so we could understand the kind of stress or maybe turmoil of understanding that you now have this like amazing trump card, but you're supposed to keep it a secret.
You didn't feel like you got enough from the scene with her and Tyrion?
I'll ask you this.
When she says, what if there was somebody better? That's all I needed. That line was... I know you're thinking Jon.
But I'll ask you this. Would you rather...
Because the marriage, hey, here's Sansa's a Targaryen.
She just fucking uses it on herself. My real name is Rhaenys Targaryen.
Would you rather see their reaction, or would you rather see 10 more minutes of the feast?
What's the reaction going to be?
I guess I'd rather see the reaction. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You cut out the feast. Yeah, cut out some of the scenes from the feast.
But it's like, what are they going to say? Like, oh,
that's
you should be king, and Jon's going to do the same thing. He just said to Daenerys, no, Daenerys is the queen. And we're just going to get a reiteration of that, but just with different characters.
It's a different reaction. Like, Daenerys is like, oh, man, I got competition now. And this is them realizing.
Their brother is, well, not their brother, but yeah, their brother.
Their cousin.
Okay.
Okay.
You
gave up on that.
Not their brother. No, I can understand that. Why you want to see that reaction?
I feel like of all the reactions we got to this news, like, yeah, we needed Daenerys, we needed Jon's, obviously, but we also needed like the siblings. They grew up together, knowing this, even though Bran is like, not doing anything.
Maybe they should have all been there initially when Jon finds out. Mm-hmm. It should have been a group effort, and then Sansa has been sitting with the secret for a couple of episodes, and I think that would have made that more impactful when she tells Tyrion. Ooh. Because she's had it in her mind.
I mean, I do think everyone should have just found out about this last season.
Well, I think the show should have ended last season. There should have been one final season, but I've said that before. But let's wrap this up because we'll go forever.
We wrapped this up like a half hour ago.
People want.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go check out the watch time analytics.
Do we have one?
Yeah, no, we do. I'll send them to you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that's it for the Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4 spoiler discussion. We will be back next week for Episode 5, and then the week after that, series finale.
It's kind of like finally. With the trend that this season's going, I'm happy it's over.
I just want everyone to watch and enjoy the end.
Stop bitching about it.
No, I can't wait. This channel is strictly becoming an anime channel after this. We're just reviewing animes.
I'm with that.
Get ready.
We do Dragon Ball Z.
Watch anime.
I watch Dragon Ball Z.